l'interview d'Ana Gomez de Leon, qui est une photographe mexicaine et qui est aussi orpheline de son père. Cette interview que tu vas entendre aujourd'hui dans le podcast est entièrement en anglais pour rester au plus proche de son témoignage. Si t'es pas trop à l'aise avec l'anglais et si tu as besoin des sous-titres, j'ai filmé l'intégralité de cette interview et je l'ai mise en ligne sur YouTube. Et sur YouTube, tu pourras avoir accès aussi aux sous-titres en français. Je vais te mettre le lien en description du podcast pour que tu puisses accéder directement à la vidéo sur YouTube. Je te souhaite une bonne écoute.
Life gives you a ton of shit sometimes. It's all about what you decide to do with it. I believe that I'm still here for a reason. Sometimes my suicidal mind crawls up on me, but I won't give up. I know that there are many people with stories like mine and painful stories that have overcome what they have been through, and I know I can do it.
Dans un monde où la question de la mort est souvent taboue, où vivre un deuil signifie encore être jugé, provoquer de la gêne, de l'incompréhension, quand ce n'est pas de la pitié. La grande question est celle-ci. Comment des orphelins comme nous, qui avons vécu très tôt la mort d'un parent, qui ne voulons pas porter ce poids sur nos épaules toute notre vie, ni qu'il impacte nos relations actuelles, comment nous pouvons y donner un sens nouveau, construire des relations plus profondes, et surtout, comment nous reprenons le pouvoir sur nos vies. Mon nom est Johan, et bienvenue chez les Orphelins Résilients. Ma rencontre avec Anna n'aurait pas pu exister il y a 15 ans ou 20 ans dans un monde sans réseaux sociaux. L'interview que tu vas entendre aujourd'hui est la preuve concrète que ce monde numérique, robotisé, n'est pas un monde déshumanisé. Imagine un événement en ligne en plein milieu du mois d'août. Une semaine de challenge avec le coach, le célèbre coach Tony Robbins. Des centaines, des milliers de participants qui viennent d'un peu partout dans le monde. Et moi, je suis là, je scrolle au milieu de ce groupe, au milieu de cette foule numérique, et je tombe sur une photo. Une photo en selfie d'une femme brune, un regard, un visage, sans sourire ni tristesse, juste pour témoigner. Et un texte en 10 points qui résume les souffrances et les difficultés qu'elle a traversées en tant qu'orpheline. Et ce texte que tu as entendu en introduction. L'orpheline que tu vas découvrir aujourd'hui est photographe et directeur artistique et entrepreneur. Entre des portraits oniriques et des paysages fantastiques, ces photos racontent des histoires. Ces photos viennent capter des instants de réel ou questionnent notre rapport au corps. Des corps végétaux, des corps parfois désincarnés, des fantômes. Bonjour Anna Gomez de Leon.
Bonjour.
Merci d'avoir accepté de venir témoigner aujourd'hui. Thank you for agreeing to appear today in the podcast. We may not go through the whole chronology of your story that you shared, but maybe in few words, you had very difficult relationship during your childhood. What happened to you?
Well, when I was really young, when I was 9 years old, unfortunately, I lost my father when I was 9. He passed because he had parathyroid cancer, and I've had a really tough time with his passing, but that's kind of why I'm here talking to you, because it's a very important part and a pillar in life to have a father and a father figure, and it's part of a journey trying to learn to live without them.
How long did his illness last? From the moment you learned from it to the moment he died?
His illness lasted for 3 months till I found a lump in his neck, till the day that he passed away. And it was a very aggressive cancer, and it was a very not not a very known and not a very common cancer. Not a very common cancer at least in Mexico. It was one of those rare cases. Not many cases were known to be in Mexico at the moment.
Yeah, I forgot to precise that you're currently in Mexico.
Yes.
Alive from Mexico. At this moment, you are 9 years old. What is your family around you? Who is there for you around you at this moment?
Yeah, at 9 years old, my family was my mother and my sister Maria and my other sister Frida, and they were my support network. Of course, we were all a cluster of love and a really, really loving and really close family. And of course, my grandma also, and my grandfather. They were my support system.
From this moment, so from 9 years old, then you keep growing as a teenager, as a child, and then as a teenager. While growing, you start having some difficulties. What happened to you, especially in 2017? You were diagnosed. Can you tell me what was the difficulty you were going through and how it ended to this diagnosis?
Yes. Well, all of my teenage years, I was a very problematic kid. I was very problematic, and I always think that I gave my mother really hard issues because I was really in parties and doing all of this and all of that, because I think that I had like a really tough time, like losing my father, and that was my coping mechanism, was like going away to parties and stuff like that, was like my venting mechanism. And then in 2017, I got diagnosed with thyroid cancer, with stage 3 thyroid cancer. And it was a thyroid removal was needed because my whole thyroid was completely, it wasn't like it could be unservable anymore. It didn't work anymore. So it had to be removed. And now every day for the rest of my life, I take some medication that the thyroid, what it does is that it regulates our metabolism. So every day for the rest of my life, I take some medication that works for doing that,
the job
of the thyroid. And then cancer came back in 20. The cancer has come back like 3 times. I have the dates like moved because it's really moved in my head because it's like painful memories, but I don't know the exact dates when it has come, but it has come back like 2 times. And I've had 3 surgeries up till now, and radioactive iodine therapy, which is you don't get chemotherapy, you get radioactive iodine, which is like a liquid you take, and then you become radioactive for some time, and then it kills the malignant cells of your cancer. Okay. But right now, I'm very happy to share with you that my last results came in clean, so I'm very happy about that.
Thank you for sharing this news. And it's very precious to talk to you right now. So coming back, then when you were a teenager, so you were kind having those emotions, but going to parties to not to think too much, and finally it's your body that tells you something, and you're having this cancer. So how did you went through those years of illness and therapy? How did you feel at this moment?
I felt for the first time in my life, I had always been like wanting to go in a way with my father, like to be with him and to be like reunited with him. I don't know, but it's something that had happened to me, like the idea of, because we had like a really close connection. And for the first time in my life, I wanted to live. I wanted to stay in this world, to experience all of the greatness and the good things that this world has to offer. And for the first time in my life, sorry if I get emotional. And for the first time in my life that I was diagnosed, I wanted to stay here, and I didn't want to die, and I wanted to explore all of the good things, and I wanted to do more things in photography because I'm a photographer, and I wanted to be with my family more. And I felt like I had wasted away so many years in parties and stupid things that weren't really my thing. I felt like I had given away part of my life that didn't belong to me, and that I needed to rethink and re-strategize what I wanted to be in my life, and how to accomplish it if I wanted to accomplish it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're telling that when you learn from this illness, it just open your eyes on what you were not giving enough attention before, because now that you are facing death, you understand that maybe before you could have give more value to what you were doing. Wow.
Exactly. Especially mundane things and things that we take for granted in everyday life, like things that we do that we lose so much time doing, like, for example, being in the computer, we lose so much time, or being in social media, and we don't think about it, but it takes a lot of time of what our life sums up to be in as a whole.
Oh, yeah, I feel like that's a great lesson, like for anyone who hasn't faced a serious illness, or like a cancer, or like non-curable diseases, to hear that, and to understand that facing it can also be something that open your eyes. But then at this moment, you just realize at this moment that it was this kind of gift, or maybe or have you been also sometimes despair of being through this illness, and that you don't know very much what will happen to you?
Yes, when I learned about it, I felt like I didn't know what was going to happen, but I felt like, as you say, it was the gift of a possibility of reimagining another type of life. another type of being in the world. And I thought that it was not a gift, because of course nobody wants to have that disease, but you can, as I said in the beginning, life gives you shit, and you choose to see it as you want to see it and as you want to believe it. And I chose to believe that it was like a path to discovery of who I wanted to be and how I wanted to change many attitudes, especially attitudes that I had towards life.
What kind of attitude then did you regret of having? Like you said, parties, and what
Yes.
What did you decided just to, okay, it doesn't make sense to keep doing these kind of things.
I neglected my body a lot. I neglected my health, and I was, to be honest, I was like drinking a lot, and it wasn't healthy for me. I was smoking a lot, and it wasn't healthy for me. And I wasn't so I was having a lot of Coca-Cola. All of these things that really, aren't like supposed to be good for you. And I was like, I wasn't sleeping so well. I was like not listening to my body, not listening to what it needed. I was treating it as if it was a machine, not as if it was like a precious
gift.
We have just like a machine to go here and here and here and do this and this and that. And that's why I think that my body told me, like, hey, stop, I need a rest. I need you to start listening to me, and I need you to start taking care of me.
Then you said also that you thought about going with your father, because there is this part on what you did with your body, but also what you had in your mind. And can you maybe also tell what, I mean, your light surgery was last year?
In 2021.
Yeah.
So last year, yes.
And so in last year you attempted suicide also. What happened? How were you thinking at this moment? If it's okay to talk about it.
Well, I was thinking, that sometimes we as humans tend to think that we compare ourselves to others in a society. Like, I haven't accomplished much, and I haven't done this, and I'm getting old, and I'm not where I should be professionally, financially. All of those things I used to tell myself every single day, like really beating myself up really harshly. Being a photographer, sometimes I think it's really beautiful and I think it's really amazing, but sometimes it's hard for me because it's artistic, and sometimes it's a little bit difficult, and the fluctuation of money is like this and this sometimes, and sometimes financially it's not that stable for me. So I was like beating myself up really harshly that I wasn't where I wanted to be up at 30. And I got to 30 and I was like, on my birthday, I was really depressed, and I was like, thinking that I shouldn't be here, and that I should just go, that I should just like quit. But something that has always kept me here has been my family, because they have been really supportive, and my mom and my sisters are very loving towards me. So that's like one of the reasons that I have always been like struggling to be here and to be strong, But yeah, but for this one time, I just like couldn't do it, and I tried to do it, and I was like, I was committed to a place, and I was committed to a place 2 years ago, because I had another suicide attempt. But this time that I had this attempt, I was committed at home with 2 nurses, and they took care of me, and they were like watching me all the time, to see that I wasn't like doing things that could put me in danger, that sort of thing. And I was for a month with them, and then when they saw that I was like better and more mentally stable, and that I was happy and that I was doing things, then I was reintegrated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing it.
Yeah, of course. It needs to be, those are things that are really hard to talk about, but I think mental health issues need to be talked about, because they are very important to be talked about, and not a taboo, and not,
Yeah, of course. And I'm thinking also of other orphans thinking about it, or not, even if they are not like building a strategy to end their life, just to see and to listen other people who have been through this, because I think there is also this kind of culpability, like you feel culprit because you're thinking about it, and you are just judging yourself for thinking about it, and it just make it even worse. And what's really interesting in what you have shared is that when you discovered your cancer, so you open your eyes on what you have on things that you haven't done quite in the good way, let's say, but then this view on your life has taken too much place, and finally you have been judging yourself for not having done it in the good way. So you were looking for some kind of balance between okay, what how can I be nice with myself even if I'm not doing everything well?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And how also can I be aware that my life is precious and I would like to do something about it, and in the same moment be nice with myself if every day, if sometimes, okay, I don't do everything perfect. So through it, after your last suicide attempt, what makes you shift? What did you make? What made you decide? okay, I want to go on from this, and like, did you make some kind of guide, or you found some answers of questions you were asking to yourself? What happened?
I think I found some answers that I was trying to tell myself, because I think I cannot go on living like this forever, with this burden, with this huge burden, like, am I not good enough for me or for the world? I cannot go on living like this every time that these thoughts come into my head. So I had a real deep conversation with myself, and I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, you are enough. Like, you are enough for you, for your family, for everyone that surrounds you, and you are good enough. Like, it doesn't matter if you haven't accomplished this and this and this. Like, you have given everything you can, and even if you hadn't given everything you can, you still have all of your life to go. And that's what you have had this gift of cancer for, that you have a second opportunity. So I shouldn't give it away. Like, I was given like 4 opportunities in life to keep on living. I shouldn't give them away. So I'm very lucky, and I shouldn't give them away. And sometimes, as I said in the beginning, the intrusive suicidal thoughts come into my head. But fortunately, I have a therapist that I can call sometimes, and she very kindly answers, and we try to manage those thoughts. And then I also take dialectical behavioral therapy, which is a kind of therapy that teaches you skills to cope with those thoughts, which is designed specifically for borderline personality disorder, which I have. And I try to take all of the skills and all of the tools that I can learn on how to prevent these thoughts from happening. Also, I'm starting meditation, because I think that's really, I've heard that is very powerful, and that people become happier and more grounded when they do it.
Yeah, I think, definitely this one of practice I recommend to orphans I'm helping, just to understand what happened with therapists. There was some therapist around you from the time you were a teenager, and even I think maybe they have done their best. What happened? How did you arrive with like suicide attempts while there was some therapist with you? What didn't go so well?
Mm-hmm. Well, there have been, I have had, like, in my life, I have had like more than 11 or 12 therapists, because I have tried so hard to find the right one, and sometimes I don't connect. Sometimes they don't connect with me. Sometimes they don't care. Sometimes it's difficult, and sometimes people have just like abandoned me. They have said, when I was like 17, a therapist told my mother, like, I'm sorry, but your daughter is not going to be able to go to university. She's not going to be able to have a normal life. She's not going to be able to, she's going to have a nurse for the rest of her life, because she's too suicidal, and she will never be able to live like a normal person. And here I am, like, I completed university. I don't have to have a nurse. I don't have to have all those things that she said that I should have. So,
Wow.
so some people just abandon you, and that's really hard to understand that someone could say those things. But I proved them wrong, so it's okay.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing, because you like know you have this therapist who can help you, but at this moment, what you're telling is that there are also other therapists that, because of the diagnosis, they just like they did the opposite of what they should have been supposed to do. And because of putting on you this diagnosis, like, in fact, it was like removing any hopes from you. That's really, that's really sad, I think.
It was very disencouraging, because you start to believe it. If you hear it, then you start to believe it a little. You start to believe that you won't be able to finish university. And then I started doubting myself, and well, but I could do it.
And I often think that the first problem is to think that we have a problem. Yeah, this example proves it, like that. Maybe there, of course, you had some difficulties of growing as a teenager, as an orphan teenager, but like putting this kind of diagnosis on you just make it a big problem that you won't. And what was your age when you had this diagnosis?
The borderline?
Yeah.
It was really late, which I think it's really weird, because many doctors should like read a criteria book, and they should have put all of the pieces together, and they should have like known and understood my symptoms more, not put a diagnosis on me like a label that here says borderline personality disorder, but known how to treat the symptoms and everything. And it was up until I was like 19 or something like that.
Yeah.
And my most problematic phase was like from 13 to 19.
Yeah, but yes. Still at 19 years old, it's like, how can you even face like this kind of authority that represent the doctors, and that it's like, it's really hard at this age to say to yourself, I just don't agree with you, and I don't think what you're telling to me it's the truth. And what's really amazing about what you've done and how you're here today is that you just telling and showing this wasn't true.
Thank you.
So today, how do you feel today, and who have you become from all these events?
Well, today I feel grateful. I feel grateful of all of these experiences, because definitely they have shaped who I am, and they have made me become who I am today. And I feel that I have a huge opportunity to still keep on like doing the work that I need to do every single day to be a better person, be a better human, to help others that are in pain, like I went through. Because I think that ultimately that's what we're here for, to help others. That's I think my purpose in life is to help others that have been through same things that I have been through. So I want to take what I've been through and be able to do something out of it. So what I would like to do.
How is like to be, what does it mean to you to be an orphan of your father?
Well, to be an orphan of my father is an honor, because he was a great man. And even if I got him for 9 years, I feel grateful again. And even if I got him for a brief period of time, I was a really happy child when I got him. So I think that his legacy keeps on living in the way that he was really kind and really generous, and he still has friends that remain family's friends. Right now I'm going to Norway for a trip, for example, and I'm gonna meet one of his friends, and he's still a family's friend. And I think that's wonderful that he cultivated his relationships to such a point that his love carries on forever.
How do you feel about talking about death, and especially about his death?
Yes, well, talking about his death is not as painful as it used to be when it happened. But of course, it's painful, but I feel like it's moving. It's quite beautiful to think about him, because I remember the good moments. I remember the warm moments that I had with him.
What kind of do you have
moment?
like one moment and one memory you would like to share?
Yes, one time we were invited to this dance, and he carried me on top of his foot.
Yeah.
Of his
Lap.
feet.
His laps.
No, of his feet. Like he was dancing, and he carried me on his. I was on top of his feet.
Okay. And
then we were dancing, and I felt like I was really young, so I felt like really, and everyone was watching us. So, and everyone was in a circle, and I was dancing in the middle of the room with him. So I felt like a little princess. Cute. Yeah.
Wow.
That was one of my fondest memories. And yeah, to remember all of those things are my biggest treasures. But to be honest, I suppressed most of my childhood because of other things that happened in my childhood that are painful. I suppressed most of my childhood, and unfortunately, I don't remember my father much, but all of these little pieces and flashbacks that I have are really beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I was thinking also about when talking about death and about his death, I was thinking about also how it is like with people around you. I mean, with friends or with other person. How do they receive this kind of question? Is it, and maybe it's also a cultural thing. I don't know how it is in Mexico. To talk about death?
Well, in Mexico, we have we talk about death we have this Dia de Muertos thing. I don't know if you know about it, which is like a party to celebrate death. And then we make like ofrendas, which are like which we put displays for for the loved one who went away, and we put the things he used to love the most, and we put flowers and stuff like that, so we can remember them in the 2nd of November and the 1st of November also. So we can remember them. So it's like a party surrounding death. So I think that we have a different kind of view on death that is not so difficult to talk about, but at the same time I feel like it's more open to talk about death in Mexico. But for example, in my family, to talk about death is a little complicated because my father passed away and I was a little bit close because of the cancer. So it's something we don't like talking so much about. And also my grandfather passed away not so long ago, and it was really difficult for my mother to watch him pass, also of a cancer. So yeah, it's definitely a difficult thing, but I'm definitely, now that I think about it, I think that I'm not scared of talking about death. I think it's important to talk about death and having these conversations.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for this. Also, the describing how it is in Mexico, like this, how this party look like. Like, what kind of, are you playing some music, and what kind of music are you playing during these parties?
Well, in cemeteries, sometimes on those dates, sometimes you can find mariachis playing.
Okay.
Playing on the graves of the people who passed. But if you go to houses and you can see the people arranging their homes with the ofrendas, which are the things I described, with the photographs of the person and the things he used to like the most, eating or drinking, and the flowers, very beautiful. I'll send you pictures later. And then you normally don't put music, but it's just like the ofrenda, and then you put like flowers to the entrance of the house.
A path.
Chemin.
Yeah.
Of flowers from the ofrenda to the entrance of the house, so that the spirit of the person can enter the house and go to the ofrenda.
Okay. Wow.
So it's very beautiful, so that they can find their way in.
Okay.
It's a very beautiful tradition.
Yeah. Thank you for the explanation. Let's talk about your job and your work as a photographer. What you have been through, those suffering and this pain, how do you use it in your work? And do you use it in your work, and how do you?
Yes, I think I use it a lot, but I think it serves me, because they say take your broken heart and put it into art. So I think that's what I do. I think I take all of the pain that I've been through and I put it into what I do. I try to take photographs that represent sometimes what I'm feeling, and I have done some series, some photographs that I did, for example, a series of myself. I was in the woods of Ireland, and I made like it was the moonlight, and I made a time, I set the camera on bulb mode, like to make like a time lapse of myself, like in a long exposure, I mean. And I was naked in the woods, and I was completely freezing. So it was like being exposed, vulnerable, and like a baby, like we come like naked. So I was super exposed and freezing, and I was like in all of these uncomfortable positions. And it was the moonlight that was like illuminating me. And then I made these photos that are called Wild Woman in the Woods, because I felt like sometimes when I was really in my wild years of drinking and stuff like that, I was like really wild. So it reminded me of that, the title. So I put it Wild Woman in the Woods, and it was describing this wild part of me that keeps on going even after all of these things have happened to me, and that keeps evolving, and that never stops, and that is really wild. And that's like one of those pieces I made, and that reflects how I felt at the moment, because I was really depressed at the moment, and that was really cathartic. That experience of being naked in the woods and freezing, it was cathartic, and it was like a way to lose myself, all of these bad feelings I had. I completely lost them there, and I left them in the woods of Ireland, and I felt happy after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you for sharing this story. Yeah, it's like, it's not just you're taking some picture. It's like when I was introducing you and telling that you're telling some stories, and now you just explaining that you're living what you're doing when doing your picture, and it means a lot for you when you're living this experience, and you're like engaging yourself. It doesn't look like it's even like you're trying to make something for someone or to please to someone. Like you just want to do these things and to create it because it's meaningful for you, and then you'll see where it would resonate, and if someone would
Thank you. That means a lot, that what you say, because that's completely what I'm trying to achieve, that it doesn't look like I'm doing it for someone.
I think the quote you've said about art, about you put your suffering into art to create something, like means a lot, and can be also for all fans who we watch this interview or listen to this interview, means something that if maybe you don't know what to do with all this stuff of this shit and find a way to create something from it. It's
exactly.
Yeah, that's a way definitely where you can like take back your power.
Exactly. Channel it.
And it's still like putting yourself in danger when you're doing it. Like you're trying to experiment something. You're not just trying to make some picture like I don't know, like this kind of vision we can have about artists, which is okay. I'm taking those those class of photography, and as a hobby, I every I don't know, every once a week I'm going to take this class. Like it's just much more meaningful for you and for what you're doing. I would like to move also to the other project that you're working on as an entrepreneur. Can you just tell us just in few words what is it about? And
yes, it's like a website for photographers to be able to book them on the site, like an Airbnb for photographers in Mexico City.
Okay, what is the name of it?
The name is Kaya, but
Kaya.
I haven't registered it already. I hope that there's nothing yet.
It's still coming to life.
It's still thriving.
Yeah. Think about your father, and if there is one thing that could make your dad proud of you today, what would it be?
I think that he would be proud of my photography, because he really liked photography. And I think he would be proud of that I treat people like with the same kind of respect that he treated them. Like really, he was really respectful, and I'm the same as he was.
Yeah. If you had the 9 years old Anna in front of you, and who has just lost her father, what would you like to tell to her?
Everything is gonna be okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is very beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for taking part of this interview. And maybe, how can people find you? Where can they discover your work and your project, for first your picture and then your startup project?
Oh yes. So my website is www.annagdl.com, and my Instagram is at the annagdeleon.
Okay.
And then the startup project, we are doing the minimum viable product, so it's coming up, but I'll keep you posted.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. And I put the link also on the podcast description, and also on directly your Instagram account on the video in the interview. So here,
yes.
And so that people can find you and discover your work, and especially the picture you talked about in this interview. Thank you very much, Anna.
No, thank you. It was really nice. Yeah. And thank you for this interview. It meant a lot to me. It was really beautiful, and I really got to gave you my heart in this interview, and it was really beautiful. Thank you.
Je voudrais te remercier d'avoir écouté cet épisode. J'espère sincèrement que ce que je t'ai partagé aujourd'hui t'a aidé. Ça t'a aidé, alors assure-toi de le partager avec un autre orphelin qui en a besoin. Pour les prochaines semaines, j'ai décidé de prendre du temps pour discuter avec toi, pour comprendre et clarifier ta situation et pour t'aider à guérir les blessures que tu portes avec toi. Envoie-moi simplement un message sur Facebook. Pour m'écrire, le lien direct c'est m.me/johan.orphelin et tu retrouves tous les liens en description du podcast. Le podcast Orpheline Résiliente, c'est un épisode par semaine le lundi à 8h. Merci encore pour ton écoute. Je te laisse découvrir le sujet du prochain épisode. À très vite. Comment faire avec ce vide que tu n'oses peut-être pas aller regarder en toi? C'est ce qu'on verra la semaine prochaine.